Okay. Hi, everyone. How are you? Welcome to DecoArt. If you've ever joined us before for our Facebook Lives, we're back in that room again for our Zoom classes. We've been in 3 different rooms, but here we are. I'm so happy that you're here. My name is Fla Schneider, and I'm the senior designer here at DecoArt. And today we're going to be having lots of fun with our glass paint markers. And these are new. If you're familiar with the markers that we had in the past, they had a little bit of transparency to them. I would say they were like a semi-transparent. Now we have these new awesome opaque glass markers. So we're going to get started. If we can please move over to the other camera. I can't see this one.
It's working.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So Michaels carries a huge variety of these. Like I said, they're opaque. So they're not transparent at all. They have great coverage. They carry 2 really great packs. There's 6 markers in each pack, a primary and a bright. So we're going to start off by just showing you how to use the paint marker, how to get it going. So first, you're just going to give it a little shake. And this might be hard to see, but what you're going to do, is that a good spot?
Yeah.
Is just press down on the tip. And what's going to happen is the paint is going to slowly but surely start to flow down right into the nib. And as soon as you see it starting to come, I would push it down a little bit more. And just press down a few times, and now it's ready to go. We're going to start with this adorable little glass vase. Michaels has a huge variety of glass vases. This one is really cute and little. And right now I feel like everybody has diffusers. It's like something that's trending. And here's another size. So this is just a little set that we're going to work on. So what I'm going to do is on this side, show you the first step here using those 2 colors. I'm just going to turn it over. And you can see how opaque that is, but I would still do 2 coats. I would let it dry and do another coat. So you're going to start just by doing, a couple of random little shapes, round but not perfectly round. Then come in with this color, the fuchsia, and literally just do little dots. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
As you guys are watching, hopefully you're crafting along with us. But if you're not and you're curious, have questions, feel free to ask away. I can definitely answer questions as I'm painting here. So that would be step 1, and then letting it dry and adding another coat. So we're going to move on to this one where I already completed that step, and this is already dry. And I'm going to grab a black paint marker, and we're going to start to do, the little stems here. I was working upside down there. And you can see how fast that goes. And see how nice and thin that is. If you do not apply too much pressure, you can get really thin, dainty lines. And if you apply pressure, you can get thicker lines. For this one, I want it, nice and dainty. So I'm just applying very, very little pressure. So you're going to start like that, very, very simple. Can that be taken off just so I could see?
What's on here?
Just want to make sure that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you for that. So now I'm just doing little leaves, super simple, tiny strokes. And this one, I would have made it thinner. I just wanted to show you the difference between applying a lot of pressure and very light pressure. So we have all of the stems and the little leaves done. We're going to move on to those little accents that you see. And these are just simple little, you know, wild flowers. And again, when you're doing this process, you want to make sure that the color underneath is completely dry, because if you start to apply the black over the top and it's not dry, the colors may mix. And I would continue over here. I'll just do a couple on this side.
Hey, Paul, can you tell us a couple things? First of all, the dry time on this, whether while you're working on it and then actually baking time. And then, yeah, make sure you kind of lift it up and show people, because some people are having a hard time seeing.
Oh, sure. I wonder if we should, you know, set something down so I'm up closer. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so the dry time, it will vary depending on how thick you're applying the paint. But I waited approximately 20 minutes between, you know, on this one that I did first. The orange and the fuchsia, set that down, waited about 20 minutes, and then came in with the black. And these are small. I'll be working on some things that are a little bit larger. So once you're done, you can get these little cute reeds and some nice smelling oils. I love the citrus, or, you know, whatever your favorite is, and put your oils in there and the little reeds, and you have a super cute diffuser. Okay, this next project is a little bit bigger. Let me know if you all could see. And I think this is adorable for like a college dorm or a teenager's room, you know, these super bright colors. We're going to be working on this vase here. Let's see, we will do a blue. Another really great thing about these markers is after you've completed your project, let's say you wanted your item to be dishwasher safe and completely permanent, you can wait 8 hours after you do your design, wait 8 hours, and then pop it into the oven for 30 minutes at 375 degrees. And that will make it dishwasher safe. Like if you were doing some coffee mugs or something like that. For the vases, it would be totally optional. So let's see, on this one, we're just gonna do a fun peace sign that's in the shape of a heart. Make it a little bit thicker. So there I have the outline, and now I'm going to go in and just fill it in because I want it to be a little bit thicker. But you can see how nice that covers. On some of the paint markers, and depending on what color your surface is, you are going to need just one coat. Just depends. This one is definitely going to be one coat, I would say. This is the 1 millimeter size, which I think is really nice because it's thin enough to do detail work, but it's also thick enough to where you can do something like this and get some bold designs fairly quickly.
So a couple of questions.
Sure.
What have you done to prepare your glass or ceramic surfaces? Is there any prep that needs to be done, number one? And then number two, I forgot number two.
Well, I'll answer number one, and if you want to go look at.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so you can prep your surface with either just, dish soap, or you can use rubbing alcohol or window cleaner. Another good idea is to not have lotion on your hands. If you're going to be touching the surface, it may affect the adherence of the paint.
And how about prepping the marker for painting?
Oh, for those of you that missed the beginning there, I'll do that again real quick. I did it with this purple one. What you do, and there's a little ball bearing in there, you can probably hear that, is you give it a little shake. And then you simply, can you see that? Okay.
Yeah.
You press down. Now this one I already prepped, and you'll see that the paint is going to start to saturate the nib. And when it's completely saturated, you can just test it. You know it's ready to go.
What are the vases painted with for?
Well, this is what's really popular right now is, the bright color on a bright color. These I painted with our DecoArt glass paint. So you could either find these vases in bright colors already, or you can paint them with our Americana glass paint. Or it's our DecoArt glass paint. And it comes in a bunch of fun colors. And it's a satin finish. I don't know if you can see that on camera. And this is 2 coats, guys, so you can see how nice the coverage is on that paint. So let's look at all 3 of them together. And Kelsey, you can let me know if you could see all 3. Yeah. And right now, a lot of kids are, doing their schooling from home, and they're just sitting there alone. So it's a good idea to have some fun things for them to decorate their desk. Maybe pens can go in this one, some flowers in that one, just some fun things so that they'll have something bright and colorful and cheery to look at while they're doing their schoolwork. Okay, next we're going to, as you can see, I just demoed how to freehand. Just a very simple design. But if you're not comfortable freehanding, I want to show you a really cool trick. So here I drew the design on a piece of paper first, and I'm just going to slip it into the space and get some tape in there and just tape it on the inside of the vase. Okay, so I have that taped down. And we will use that purple that I just prepped a little bit ago. And now you can simply trace without having to, draw the design first on your glass or transfer it or anything. So there you have the outline. And of course, you can come in and make it a little bit thicker and bolder. And you can see on glass, it's really difficult to have paint look opaque. You can see how there's, no transparency there. It's nice and opaque, and the coverage is really great. Yes.
Are those paint pens blendable? Someone wants to know.
Yes and no. I'll tell you why. When you blend the colors, you're going to get the other paint color on the nib, but with this other project that I have coming up, I'm going to show you a different way of blending as opposed to just blending colors directly with the pen. But the answer is yes, they are blendable. And what you could do is after you blend, just press it down a little bit and write a few times so that the other color is removed from the nib. And for the sake of time, guys, I'm not going to finish this one, but I do want to paint just a little bit so I can show it to you up close and you could see the coverage. And again, I think that the 1 millimeter size is awesome because it's small enough to do detail work, but it's thick enough to do, you know, full coverage here. So let's just do this whole side because we have a lot more to cover. And if some of you joined in a little late, feel free to ask questions because I did go over how you can bake the product to make it durable and dishwasher safe. And I also covered how to get the pen started and how to prep your glass. Okay, so you can see how fast that is. I'll show it to you up close. These are also great for kids if you don't want the mess and, you know, of having to bring out paint and paintbrushes. You can just lay out a bunch of markers and some nice, you know, vases and fun glass pieces and ceramics too. I did want to mention that even though these are glass paint markers, they also work on metal, they work on ceramics, even on mirrors. So they work on quite a few different things. Next, I love these. I love everything or anything that has little faces on it. Can you see that? Yeah. So this is a tiny little vase. And for the sake of for the demo, I'm going to do this one that's also small, but a little bit larger. Okay, so I'm just going to start by making bangs. And all it is like little waves going all the way across. Easy peasy. And then I'm just going to make the face. And again, this is one of those projects where you can get a little piece of paper, roll it up and stick it in, and then just trace right over your design. If you're not comfortable, you know, freehanding it. And we'll make her eyes a little bit different. Then switching over to the fuchsia. And if your markers have been setting for a little bit, just give them another shake. And we'll do her little rosy cheeks. If that's distracting, I'm just going to flip this over. Okay, so there we have the face, and of course we want to decorate the rest of the vase because it's a little bit plain. And I'll show you a way to do simple little roses. You can just make a little swirl. It almost looks like an E that isn't closed all the way. Like you started an E and didn't quite finish it. And then you're just going to go around. There's a bunch of ways to do roses, but this is very, very simple. And we'll just continue. And sometimes designs look really pretty when you keep it simple, just a black and a secondary color.
Hey, Plum, when
Hey.
you're painting,
Yes.
can you paint one color over another or do layering of color without reconstituting the paint underneath?
Only if it is 100% cured. The answer is yes. A good example is I did that earlier today on this one. So first I painted with the yellow and the orange, but waited for that to dry completely and then came over that with the black. But let's say I wanted to go over it with another color, just so you could see. So yes, you can. Good question. I'm not going to completely finish this vase. I'm just going to do the front here, because I like to show how fast some of these projects go and how easy they are. And you know, with the holidays right around the corner, you may consider picking up a bunch of simple glass pieces and just decorating them and making them special and customized for someone. Okay, do you guys still feel like it's too far away, or can you see pretty good? And I am bringing up the project closer to the camera every so often so you could see exactly what I'm doing.
Did some books to cover up your elbows help? Or...
I think just something large and a little bit taller would have been good, but it's okay. We're getting through it. Okay, everyone, this one, the front side is done. Of course, I would go all the way around with those black roses. And on this one, I would do one more coat on the fuchsia, but the black is perfectly okay. Okay, moving on. What are we gonna do next? Oh, I think we should do a mirror. And
color and blending is what they're interested in.
oh, okay. I'm going to be doing that on this one. What do you mean by color and blending? Like specific colors or?
That over here. They're just interested in blending and seeing how the colors look.
Oh, okay. So there we have a little bit of gold, and here's fuchsia. And then I'm just going to come right up to that gold where it meets there in the middle, and then come back with the gold and come down. And you can get a really nice ombre. That's a really nice technique for florals as well. Or if you wanted to do something horizontal. There's the orange, then I'm coming in with the gold.
Turn your hands
And,
a little bit more in the middle part.
oh, yes, sorry. And you can see how nicely that ombres. Now let me show you, after you do that technique, this is what I would do. Once you're done, of course. So let's say you're done doing all of your blending. I would take the two colors that I used and just write a little bit until it comes back to its original color. Could you see that? Okay. And it doesn't take much to you know, get your paint marker back to its original color. Okay, while I have this out, I'm going to show you another technique that's really fun, especially for kids. Let's see, we will do orange. And you have to be pretty fast on this one, guys.
Oh, hold on.
Uh-oh. This one says low battery.
Low battery. It's plugged in.
Is it completely lost or?
Is it low battery?
This one says low battery.
I thought it was plugged in.
Yeah, it is plugged in. Is the switch on?
Here, let's just close. It should come back on. There.
Is it good?
It's probably at 20%.
Hi guys, I hope you're all still there. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Okay, so if you missed what I said there, I was saying that this next technique is super fun, especially for kids. And you do have to move a little bit fast, but it's worth it. You'll see. I think it's really fun. So I'm going to take two colors and I'm pressing down first to get quite a bit of paint out and just making a little circle. Then I'm going to grab the gold, press it down, and make another circle. And the circles do not have to be perfect at all because this is what we're going to be doing. I'm taking a straw and I'm just going to blow directly onto the paint. Kelsey, can you see if that was on camera what I just did?
Yeah.
I'm going to do it one more time. And here's another thing. You do not have to do two colors at the same time. Is that part on camera?
Maybe a little more than that. There you go. That's
Okay.
great.
So it's like a really cool, I'm going to say almost like an alcohol inks effect. And I'm going to show you a couple of mugs that are completed in using this technique. So I think this is great if you have, you know, kids at home or every family member sort of wants their own color scheme. It's really easy to know whose mug is whose, but you can take this one step further by adding an initial. So let's do that, because I know you had questions regarding, you know, using colors over other colors. Again, this is completely dry. So I'm going to take the black and just do a very simple, we'll do an L. So if the color coding isn't enough, you can take it a step further and add everyone's initials. And these two make a super great gift. You might even have some white mugs at home already. Okay, so back to, we were talking about all the surfaces that these DecoArt glass paint markers work on. They obviously work on glass. They also work on metal, even on wood, and of course mirror. So I think what I want to create is a really fun design around the perimeter that can go with this cute little diffuser. See how cute that will look? Oh, does this work or is the camera?
No, the camera's working.
No, I mean the mirror is going to be interesting. Okay. So we're just going to draw something that sort of goes with this design. So maybe we'll do the stems with the leaves. And I'm going to start just by making a simple wavy line like that. And then some leaves. And just continue that very organically. I'm not trying to make it symmetrical or anything, all the way around.
Hey, a quick question.
Sure.
Is this, when it goes into the oven,
Yes.
is there any kind of toxic fumes or anything that anyone should be aware of?
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's a good question. And when you're doing this type of a design, the less you think about it, the nicer and more organic your design will be. And I know on some of these, again, you don't need to see these projects from start to finish, but I'm doing that intentionally so you can see how fast you can create some of these. So I'm moving that up closer. So this was cute on its own, but look at how cute that is. I think that's just adorable. And I could see this being gifted to someone along with their favorite scent. Okay. Let's move on. Here's another mirror. This one's a little bit larger. And I think that that one would be really cute with these two vases. Like a little set. And you can pop some cute little flowers in there. Okay. So on this one, you know, we want to do something that matches. So maybe we're just going to do those little roses all the way around. So remember, it's just a little, almost an E that you didn't quite finish. And then little petals all the way around. And for everybody who's just joining us, feel free to ask questions. Another thing I wanted to mention about baking, for example, this mirror has these little rubbery things, you know, these non-slip rubbery things on the bottom. Just be aware of what you're baking. This mirror would be able to be baked if it did not have those. I know oftentimes when we think of glass paint markers, we think mainly about, you know, personalizing, but you could see how many other great projects you can make with these. Now, once your glass paint marker, if it starts to get a little bit light, like that rose started to get there, simply press down on it a little bit to saturate that nib, and you're good to go again. Okay, so that one is done. Let's put the vases on and see how cute it looks. Good?
Oh, that's good.
Okay, just want to make sure everyone can see. Okay, we're gonna move on to one of my favorite glass pieces that Michael's carried, because I think this is so fancy. Now remember the technique that I did on the mug, or the mugs I should say. That is the same exact technique that I did on this here. And that's using gold, fuchsia, yellow, and orange. So it looks really pretty. This would be the back, and this would be the front. So I'm going to show you how to personalize the front here.
So Paul, we had a couple questions.
Sure.
How long do these paints in the pen last? Like about how many projects can you do?
Gosh, that's a good question. And I've been working with these for so long. So I can tell you, I don't know the exact answer, but I took a set home myself and I did 6 collections of vases that were between this size and this size. And each collection was 3, and those still have paint in them. So I don't know the exact answer to that. It also depends on how much paint you're applying to your surface. But I can tell you, they're deceiving, you know, they're fairly small, but you can get several, I mean, many, many projects created with these, as small as they are. Okay, So now we're going to be personalizing the front of this. And again, because it's glass, this makes it super, super easy. I already wrote out the name that I'm going to be writing on the front here, Kelly. And I'm just going to pop it right in there, center it, and tape it. Let's see, is that centered? That seems about right. And this is another one of those surfaces that it is really pretty on its own, but once it's painted, it's just amazingly pretty. Completely transforms it. Okay, I think that's centered good enough. And if you're not comfortable, you know, sort of doing your own hand lettering, just find a font online that you really like and print it out. So because we want this to really show up against the very colorful back, I'm going to use black for this one. Give it a little shake. Okay. So I'm going to show you with the paper still there, and I'm going to carefully remove it. And there's the back side again. Now, if any of you missed how I did this technique, just go ahead and let me know and I'll do it again. I know some of you came in a little after we started. Okay, now we're going to do this adorable, chubby little piggy bank. And sometimes, you know, we like designs that are very, very bold, and sometimes we prefer designs that are dainty. I'm going to do something really nice and dainty on this piggy, and I already started on that side. And I only used two colors, the fuchsia and the gold. So we're going to go all the way around, so we'll start right here. And see how tiny you can get these little hearts. This is the little piggy. It also comes in a super cute jumbo size.
Hey, when you get done with that,
yes.
People are really wanting to see your straw technique again.
Okay. Absolutely, you guys, will do. As soon as I finish Mr. Piggy, or I should say Mrs. Piggy, because she has a cute fuchsia little hearts. Okay. So after that, I did add these simple little dots. And I did that just so you could see how dainty and tiny you can get with these glass paint markers. Oh, and if you mess up, like I just did right there, and it's still wet, you can just wipe it right off. Okay, so back to this side that's already dry, I'm just going to add a name right on top there. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And you're all done. Very simple, very fast. And it completely transformed this plain white little piggy. I think this makes a great gift for the holidays too, so the kiddos can start saving. Okay, back to that technique. Tell me if is this too tall for the camera? Like,
yeah, you can't really see it. Maybe tilt it a little bit, or do you able to?
Let's see. Yeah, I could do that and paint with this hand.
Yeah, they're a little forward. Yeah, there.
That's good right there?
A little forward. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So we're back to this piece, and I'm going to use these colors here. I'll tilt it in a second. Have my straw ready. So you're going to need a straw, and then your glass paint marker. I would say 3 colors is good, but you can use 2, 3, 4, I would say up to 5 colors. And you do have to work quickly. So I'm just going to start with the fuchsia. I'm pressing it down. Is that a good?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pressing it down and just making a random shape. And as you can see, that's quite a bit of paint because I pressed down as I painted. And then I'm taking the straw and I'm just going to blow. And you don't want to try to do anything specific. You know, you want it to be completely random. So I'm going to go ahead and start with another color. We'll go with the gold. And you can get pretty close to the first color that you used. And if you work fast, I would say you can do up to maybe 3 little blobs. Take your straw and just come fairly close, and you're going to blow directly onto the paint. Okay, I'll do a little bit more. We'll go to the orange. And we'll try to do 2 colors at the same time. So there's the orange. And again, I'm moving quickly. There's my gold. Okay, now I'm taking the straw and same technique. I'm just going to blow directly on there. Okay. So there you have, you know, just a little section, but I'll turn it back here for those of you that just hopped on. I think that is absolutely gorgeous. It almost looks like a cross between alcohol inks and marbleizing, I'd say. Huh? Okay. Now, for those of you who missed me doing that on the mug, just because it does have a different look on white ceramic than glass, I'll do a couple here. Let's do purple this time. So I have the 2 little blobs of paint there, and we're just going to blow. And you can see that the colors blended together. That's okay. As a matter of fact, it will give your piece more interest if the colors do blend. And I'll go back to the 2 finished mugs for those of you who are just joining us. You can see a lot of these colors blended right into each other. And I had mentioned that these are really fun for the family. Everyone can have their own mug. And you can personalize it further by adding an initial. Okay, this next one, first I'll show you the finished product. And this is just a simple frame. You know, Michael's has several different varieties. And the first thing that I did is I removed the backing, and then it had these little metal, tiny metal pieces in there, and those would hold the backing in the frame. So I took some pliers and pulled those out. So again, this is the finished piece. I'm going to show you the process. And if you were to go, hang this, I would add the little hangers on the two sides. So when it's up on the wall, it's completely invisible. You can't see, the hanging mechanisms or anything. Okay, here we go. Is that on camera?
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay. So the first thing you're going to do, as I mentioned, you are going to take out the little metal pieces. You're going to take out the glass. So here's my glass piece. And you're going to write, whether it's for a baby shower or a sweet 16 or even a wedding. It would be great to do something like this. I'm just going to bring this one back into frame. Imagine if you did something like this, but on a much larger scale. And here it was, Mr. and Mrs. Smith and the year. And you left all around it blank so people can come in and sign. You can have a variety of the DecoArt glass paint markers, around and the colors of your wedding, and it could be signed all around. I think that's a really fun idea. So again, the first thing you're going to do is write, this one is Ava's Sweet 16, baby shower, welcome baby, whatever you want your message to be, or even a really nice quote. But you're going to be sure to write it on tracing paper because we're actually going to be writing in reverse. So you would put your tracing paper down, remember reverse, and you can tape it. I guess I will tape it just to make sure it doesn't move. So I learned this the hard way. I'm right-handed, and I tend to want to start where the word starts. So on Ava, I sort of want to start on the A, but start on the left so that you don't drag your hand over the paint. My daughter's left-handed, so she would have no problem. But I'm going to start on this S and just carefully trace it. I'm just going to do one word. And as you can see, I'm basically, on the thicker parts of the letter, I'm outlining it. And on the thinner parts of the letter, I'm just, tracing it. So after I outline the thicker parts, then I go in and fill it in. And this is the perfect size to do this type of lettering. So on this part, again, it's thin. That's all it takes. On this part, which is thicker, I'm going to outline it and then fill it in. So I'm going to remove it so you can see what this looks like. And I would end up doing 2 coats on this because it's sort of like a floating sign because there's nothing behind it. That's what 1 coat looks like. That's still really nice coverage, but I would go ahead and do 2 coats. So once you have this part done, I'll show you what that looks like, and then we'll go on to the last step. And before I move on, do you guys have any questions? Okay, so in case you missed it, I'm going to go over the process again. The first thing I did was remove the backing, and then with some pliers, remove the little metal pieces that hold the backing in. Then I took the glass and put a little glue dots all the way around with E6000. and then I put little dabs of glue on the frame itself. After I did that, I waited 2 to 3 minutes and then pressed the glass down. Once that dries, then that's a good time to go ahead and start painting. And remember, you're going to be painting in reverse. You're going to do your design on tracing paper. So you have this part done, and your lettering is completely dry. Now you're ready for the next step, which is to add this really pretty metallic background. So I'm going to take just a little bit of extreme sheen in amethyst, aquamarine, and silver. Oh, and I forgot to add, I did add some really nice little stars. Just freehand, you know, the simple little 5-point stars. I'm going to take the 3 colors and just dab them throughout. That's the aquamarine, a little bit of silver. Oh, you have to give it a little shake. And as you can see, I'm placing this really random. There's no rhyme or reason. And then a little bit of the amethyst. Give it a little shake first. And then you're just going to take a soft brush and just glide the colors. And at this point, you will know if you need more, which I think we might need more, we'll see. And as I'm brushing these colors out, they're blending into one another, which has like a really pretty celestial effect, these cool colors. So I'm going to turn it over in just a second here, and that's when we can tell if we need more paint. It also depends on the look that you want. Maybe you want it to be, you know, semi-transparent. And again, when you're doing this process, you want to make sure that the glass paint marker is totally dry before you apply the paint. Okay, let's go ahead and turn it over, and there you go.
Is that metallic paint, glass paint, or is that just acrylic paint?
No, it's just acrylic paint.
Acrylic paint.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So that's a good point. Maybe you have a question. Can you use a non-glass paint on glass, like extreme sheen? The answer is yes, because it is on the back. And when you display this, you can't even touch it. You could also use it on glass pieces that are strictly decorative, you know, something that you don't need to go in the dishwasher, something that's not gonna get handled a lot. You can definitely use extreme sheen or a non-glass paint. Okay, so we're gonna start to wrap it up. I have just one more quick little sample. So this is a good project utilizing both our glass paint, it's our DecoArt glass paint, along with our DecoArt glass paint markers. So for this process, it's just think about everything in layers. So it's just simple little brush strokes first, and then a larger, you know, random squarish shape. And you let that dry completely, and then come in with your glass paint marker and add the details of the flowers. Just another example of, I love that so many DecoArt products can be combined because they're, you know, water-based. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick recap. While I'm doing the recap, if you can think of any questions, if there's a project that you want me to show up close again, or if there's a technique that you feel you missed. I think we have a few more minutes, do we?
I'm not sure.
Okay, and it's okay if we go over, but if you feel like you missed a technique, you have questions, or again, there's a project that you'd like me to show up close again, I'm happy to do that. So the recap is, to get your pen started, you're gonna give it a nice little shake. You're gonna open it, and this one has already been prepped. And you're just gonna push down on the nib until you see the paint completely saturate the nib, and then it's ready to go. You want your glass pieces either washed with regular dish soap and dried really well, or wiped down with a glass cleaner or with rubbing alcohol before you get started. It's also a really good idea to not have lotion on your hands. So I'll use this as an example. If I have lotion on my hands and I'm touching it, and then I go with the glass paint marker and try to paint over where the lotion is, I'm not gonna get really good adherence. Next thing, once you're completely done with your design, you want to wait 8 hours, go ahead and pop it into the oven at 375 for 40 minutes, and that makes it dishwasher safe, and it makes it completely permanent and durable. Michaels carries 2 packs, they're brights and they're primary basics, and a bunch of other colors, and 2 metallics, which is great. We have the gold and the silver, and it's a 1 millimeter size. And someone had asked, how many projects can you create with one of these? And I don't know the answer, because it depends on how much paint you're applying to each project, the size of the project, but I can tell you that I did a collection of 6 vases, and each set had 3 or more vases, and I still had paint left over. So this little size is totally deceiving. You can do a ton of projects with these. Okay, so we can turn the camera now, and unless anyone has more questions, or unless anyone wants to see anything up close. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you, Michaels, for having us. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I hope you had fun. I hope you're inspired to create some really fun glass painted projects with the DecoArt glass paint markers. And we hope to see you next time. Bye, everyone.